Hey guys, it's Ryan Bridge, BugMan, and look, today, this is going to be cool. We're going to be exploring the Cicada Killer wasps. Not a hornet and not a murder hornet. Don't get them confused, man. All right, look, I'm going to take you into the personal life history of these amazing wasps. Very cool, very docile, very native. So we got to keep these things around, and I'm going to teach you all about the Cicada Killer today. If you're interested or even freaked out, you want to stay with me on this video because things are going to get to be a ton of cool bug fun today. Stay with me. Okay, so let's get a couple things straight right out of the gate. These, again, are not murder hornets. They are native cicada killers. They occur both east and western U.S. And here I'm in Pennsylvania, so we're going to be looking at the eastern cicada killers. And again, we're looking at them in detail. This is a female, and she's burrowing out a burrow that she will then fill with chambers, and in those chambers she will also put cicadas in there. This is basically nature's way of controlling the cicada population. Cicada killers are in the family of wasps called Cribronidea, or sand wasps. Almost all the sand wasps are quite docile and very focused on their tasks. Male cicada killers emerge in late June and eagerly await for the females to arrive. It's common to see the males camped outside of a burrow entrance or on a nearby roost. They're going to be overwatching the colony and waiting for a signal from the females. All right, guys, so look, I'm not going to advocate anybody goes out and picks up and handles cicada killers because, look, if it's a female, it is going to be a bad life decision for you. However, the males cannot sting you. He's trying real hard, and even if he does tap me with the end of that abdomen, it's not going to do anything because he is unable to sting. Males in the bees, wasps, ants, and hornets, none of the males can sting you. So 50% of the bees and wasps and ants and hornets that you encounter in your lifetime are totally, completely harmless. Even if they look like they can, it's instinctive for them to try. That is not a stinger on the end of his abdomen. That is parts that he needs for mating, and you get what I'm saying. So, look, it's just a bee, just a wasp in this case, trying to live another day. I'm going to reach right in here, and I'm going to show you. It's just a bug trying to live another day. And yes, it's a cicada killer, but it's not the females, because the females would hurt me bad. So I don't hold and handle and play with the females a whole lot, but the males, a lot easier, a lot. Look. He's trying. He's trying. There's something there, but that is not a stinger. I can guarantee you that's not a stinger. So he's trying real hard to get me because that's what they do. And I'm going to quit picking on him in a minute, and I'm going to turn him loose and let him go back to his job. So keep in mind, man, 50%, half of the bees and wasps and ants and hornets that you encounter in your lifetime are going to be totally and completely harmless. Even the male cicada killers. Awesome, awesome insects. All right, watch. Here we go. Ready? Cicadas are not locusts. Cicadas are a common insect all of themselves. Our most common is the annual cicada. They'll fly from late June to mid-August, and the cicada killers are naturally timed to this yearly event. Annual cicada nymphs spend a full year beneath the ground feeding on tree roots. They usually emerge from the ground at night when it's cooler and there are less predators to feed on them. They'll climb a nearby tree or plant. They'll lift out of their skin and begin their transformation into an adult. After pumping up and drying their wings, they wait for daylight to fly off and leave a unique brown shell as evidence of their arrival. Adult annual or dog day cicadas, as they're known by, feed on tree sap, and they're harmless to people. Their ability to fly and their unique noise are solely designed for the purpose of mating. The emergence of cicadas, female cicada killers release a pheromone. It's like a perfume that triggers the males to mate. It's common to see a female cicada killer on the ground surrounded by males, all competing to mate with her. In nature, cicada killers are docile. Although I highly recommend nobody tries this, my confidence in them allows me to carefully pick up one of these sexually agitated piles of wasps. I eventually discovered 2 female wasps centered within the group. As you can see, they're so hyper-focused, they don't even notice my hand beneath them. Once a female wasp has selected a mate, they break away from the pile and find a calm, quiet place to complete the task. A female with the cicada, and she's trying to position it. She's also stinging it to make sure that it's going to be paralyzed. So there she goes, she's stinging it right now. She's going to make sure that's paralyzed and good to go. And then when she's ready, she's going to pick that thing up, drag it to a burrow, and bring it down the burrow again. That will be fun. This right here, guys, this is nature's way of curbing the cicada population. Somebody's got to take care of the cicadas or there'd be too many of them. So nature has the cicada killers out to do that job. All right, guys, so here she is. Here's a female bringing in a cicada. Remember, they don't kill these cicadas. They sting them and paralyze them. They then bring them to the burrow. That way, those wasp grubs are going to have nice, fresh food, and they'll last on that cicada for the entire season. And next year, a nice, fresh wasp is going to dig its way out of the ground. And this is how it works. This is how nature controls the cicada population. She's going to work this across the beach and eventually get it to her burrow and then take it down the burrow. And I'm hoping we can stay with her to get that job done. Oh, there she goes. There she goes, down the burrow. And there's one more cicada into the books. And there's a second female that shares that burrow. All right? More than one wasp can share the burrow. So sometimes 2, 3, maybe more wasps will share burrows, build chambers, and fill it with cicadas. I'll get to the actual cicada hunt later, but once the female has caught and paralyzed a cicada, she'll place it into a pre-dug burrow and lay an egg on it. The egg will take 4 to 6 days to hatch, and the new wasp grub will feed on the living cicada. The new wasp grub will enter the cicada and begin feeding on it. The grubs grow very quickly, doubling in size almost every week. After about 3 weeks, the mature grub will spin a silken cocoon around itself. They'll use the surrounding substrate, in this case sand, to shield and protect themselves from potential elements and predators such as skunks and raccoons that will often dig them up and eat them. The cocoon will eventually harden into a pupal case containing the grub. Female cicada killers are in fact queens. Thus, they can choose to lay eggs that will turn into either male or female wasps. In my observations, I found a higher percentage of male pupa than female. This can be for several reasons, but it's likely that the queens will often leave an area and seek out a different location to start a fresh colony. Finding both male and female pupa in the same burrow is very common. So in order to get this done right, I've got to select a burrow that I'm actually gonna dig out a burrow. And in order to do that, I got to find just the right one. I want to find one that's been active for a while, but I also want to find one that is currently active because I want to see if I can find some fresh cicadas and, if possible, show you the eggs and all the fun stuff that comes with them. So what I'm looking for, and I'll show you when I find one, I'm looking for a cicada killer burrow that is going to have a pathway. There we go. Oh, there's a cicada killer in the burrow right there. That is awesome. Okay, perfect. Now check this out. She's in the burrow right now. But if you notice, there's also a tunnel. And coming out of the tunnel is this pathway. That's where she's been pushing sand in this case. Now they'll do soil or sometimes they'll do gravel. I've seen cicada killers in all different environments, but this is where they push the sand up out of the burrow to keep the burrow open. It's also where they're going to extend the burrow deeper. These burrows are going to go anywhere from about 10 inches, sometimes to as much as 2 feet deep. All right, now this works really well. What I have is a convergence of burrows. So I've got a burrow coming in here, and this is relatively recent. I can see where they've been pushing. That tells me they're putting cicadas in, so there should be some fresh cicadas. There's also going to be a bunch of older cicadas down in there, and that's perfect as well, because I should be able to find some of the larvae, and I should be able to find possibly some cocoons or the pupa. These wasps are amazing in the way that they actually make a cocoon underground. So we're gonna dig this out. We're going to explore one or both of these burrows, and we're going to find what is hiding under there. The first trick to tracking these burrows is I like to use a tracker, and I can usually feed this down into the burrow, and this is going to go pretty deep. Give you an idea, just to the first turn, and we're already talking 6 inches deep just right there. This other one may be a little bit long. Yep. And another one's a little bit longer yet. And there's a bend there. I can feel that. So we're going to get down in there. So I'm going to put some feeder lines in here, which are just pieces of grass. And that way, when I dig these out, I can dig and hopefully get a cross-cut section of these burrows and show you what it looks like under the ground. So we've been digging a little bit. I'm starting to see some shells. There's some old cicadas in here. There's some old holes. Some of the old cells are here still, and that's cool. That's a good sign. Here's how it works. The first one I tunneled out went to kind of nowhere. It went about a foot down. It ended at an old cicada. It looks like things have been burrowing, but it didn't really go anywhere. I got the old cicada pulled out in an old chrysalis, so that might have been where one actually hatched and dug out. This one is still working. I've got chambers down here in the bottom. I've still got my feeder line in here so I can track where the tunnel goes, at least down to the first bend, which is probably 6 to 8 inches in. And at the same time, look, it's not often I'm going to advocate disturbing a wasp nest, but that's kind of what we're doing. But you notice they're not coming after me. They're not trying to get me. These wasps are very, very docile. They're very hardwired to go after cicadas, cicadas only. You could sit in the middle of this colony all day long and never be bothered, literally personally, by these wasps. They're not after you. They're looking for cicadas. The males are going to camp out and wait for the females to show up, follow them into the burrow. That's where the eggs get laid. We're going to track that here in a minute because I'm going to find some of those. Stay with me. And here you go. That's a pupa, that's a male. So we'll set that here. We'll come back and check that in a minute. Another one. That looks like a female, but there's only one cicada with her, which is kind of weird. It's probably going to be a small female. It's just a little darker. I don't know if that's moisture from the sand, but that looks a little rounder, a little thicker. I'm guessing that's going to be a female. Okay, so here's where things get really, really interesting. I'll use a shovel handle to help you out here. Over here's the entrance to the burrow. It's going to come in right about here. Immediately there's a chamber and a chamber. There's a cicada in this chamber right here. There's another chamber with a cicada here. I'm guessing I'm going to find one more pocketed right in here somewhere. So I'm going to dig that out just a little bit more. But we're obviously on the track for this tunnel. Now the other thing is, a few minutes ago I told you there was one trapped in there that I found a wasp. Well, now I've found the second wasp, which proves the point that these wasps share burrows. It's not just one burrow per female. These wasps will share burrows, stuff them with cells and cicadas, lay eggs on them. There she comes. There's a wasp in there. And if I pull the stick out of there, oh, there she comes. She's hanging around, digging out more chambers. We have the entrance to the burrow. That's a piece of grass I put in so I can feed the line all the way down in to the first cell. That's where that wasp was earlier, was trapped. The second cell also had a wasp that was trapped in there, but I cleaned it out a little bit. But check it out, you can see the cicadas that are wedged in these cells. Each one of those cicadas will eventually get an egg. There's another one there. Very cool. There was another one here. Where'd he go? There he is. So we've got just this one tunnel alone, and I'm pretty sure that's the end of the tunnel. But we've got 4 cicadas in the one tunnel alone. I've found as many as 10 or 12 cicadas in these burrows already. Okay, now how cool is this? That female just showed up. She's still using the main entrance to the burrow. This is how hardwired these wasps are. She's going to use the main entrance to the burrow. There's 2 females here cruising. They're sharing this burrow, obviously. But they're using the main entrance, and she crawled down into there and just popped that cicada out of that hole because it was kind of in her way. So they're pretty cool. But again, I'm sitting here right on top of this, digging into their den, digging into their nest. Nobody's stinging me. Nobody's biting me. These are very, very docile wasps. So that chamber there with the old cicada in is probably from the beginning of the season when they first started coming out. And obviously then we've got nice, fresh cicadas all the way up through. So total of 5 in this one. And one kind of old one. I'm going to clean that one out and see what's there. I'm hoping to find you guys some larvae. And I know there's going to be some pupa. The burrows I'm looking at right now are fresh and new. So I wanted to get these in first before we go looking for some pupa. Okay, so quick rundown, man. What I've got done, I've got a cross-section, more or less, of a Cicada Killer burrow. There's the entrance. It goes all the way down through. You notice I've tunneled out both sides of the burrow to see if there's chambers to the left, to the right. In this case, all the chambers so far were made on the right. I've got a couple cicadas that have spilled out onto the ground because the wasps have been moving in and out of the burrow, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 active chambers right now with cicadas in. I'm still hoping to find some cicadas with the eggs laid on them from the cicada wasps, the Cicada Killers, and at the same time, there's the end of the burrow right there, and there was a really kind of old, looked like several weeks old cicada in there. It was, and the cicada's only been out for about 2 weeks, so that had to be a really early one that was stuck in the very bottom of that burrow. But these are all nice and fresh, but there's no eggs laid on any of them, so still looking. I'm going to fill in this hole, and I'm going to go ahead and put these guys put this whole thing back together again, put the cicadas back in the burrow, and give this wasp, or these 2 wasps, back their home nice and clean as if we weren't even here. How fun is this? I'm going to take you through the progression. This is a dead Cicada Killer. This is a female that I found laying on the beach. She's pretty fresh, so she probably got stepped on or something, but she was over at the opposite end of the beach, which is good because at least I know I didn't bump her off. It's possible maybe she laid her eggs and she's on her way out. It's a little early for that though. Most of the females are still going to be kicking pretty strong. So here's your progression. This was one burrow that I just dug out a little bit ago, and check this out. This is cool. These are fresh cicadas that were in that burrow, and I'm going in line as I pulled them out of the burrow, out of their chambers. This was a progression as it went. Notice that one. That's tore into pretty good. I couldn't find a larva though. I found that cicada, so it's possible maybe I did that with the shovel, but either way, I couldn't find a larva on that one. Then they get even a little older, and then it starts to show some of the wear and tear. This one's at least, several days old without a problem at all. And then that one's even missing body parts and starting to deteriorate pretty badly. But I'm not seeing any progression from the larva on any of these, which is kind of weird. But I did manage to find a pupa with a larva in it. So the pupa, that's a cicada that I laid it with so you can see it better. But that's the cicada that it was with. And this Cicada Killer grub is inside that pupal shell. And I didn't even have to break that open. That was actually broken open for me. So kind of worked better that we can now use it for education. But what a cool insect these are. And that's the Cicada Killer pupa. And the larva inside, which is not a full pupa yet, obviously. So there you go, all right? I think we're done here. I don't want to keep disturbing the ground. We got a lot of cicadas pulled up. I'm going to bury these all back in the ground again. Put them right back into their chambers. And this was a good day. Okay, so you get it, man. Cicada killers are native. They're not murder hornets. The males can't even hurt you. And the cool part is they're out there doing their job for nature. They're taking care of the cicada population. They're keeping it in check because that is what nature needs them to do. Guys, look, I think we're all done here. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram. Look, there is a ton of cool content out there. And go find it, man. Hit me up, subscribe, let me know you like what you see. And until next time, be well, be safe, and yeah, it's still angry. Man, let's all be kind, all right? Let's be kind to everybody out there. Guys, take care. See you later.